Testing, testing, you ain't so tough with that bad boy talk.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
How's it going, friends? What's poppin'? And welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea Ruddy News, mate. The daily series here on the channel. Well, I see what's being said about Chelsea across global footballing media, giving you my humble little thoughts and opinions on it, but, you know, as always, more importantly, asking for yours. And today, a big story coming from the an analysis piece coming from the Athletic. Are Chelsea better when they have less possession from Liam Twomey? Of course, the big talking point of late is, well, Chelsea played really good attacking football under Pochettino, transitional goal scoring. Cole Palmer was cooking. Maresca has, done this controlled dark side of Sarri ball football that has stopped them from playing. Of course, this is a radical opinion, and I don't necessarily think it's true. And I think with the performance of Cole Palmer last time out, he's actually been always playing quite well. It's just he lost confidence in front of goal if you look at the numbers. But the possession thing. So Twomey's done an analysis piece there. I'm very looking forward to reading and finding out about that. Of course, we are very much at the business end of the season. We have 4 finals left, Chelsea. 3 Premier League games, and of course, the actual final itself in the Europa League Conference against Antony's Real Betis. I am fearful of him, but many of you correctly made me think of the fact how Cucurella should hopefully put him in his pocket, if indeed Cucurella starts. Although actually, if any of the first team are likely to start in what could be a semi-rotated side, it probably would be Cucurella. So maybe we can all breathe a collective sigh of relief. I also want to speak a little bit about what the Italian media are saying about João Félix. We could maybe speculate a little bit more about Nkunku. And Dean Huijsen as well, of course, the Bournemouth defender that everyone wants. Liverpool, Real Madrid, and others. So, yeah, I'm going to get into all today, man. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Do appreciate you being here, mate. And yeah, I appreciate your support, which can be asserted to me, or given to me, by liking and subscribing. And yeah, for the first time in weeks, I didn't upload on the second channel yesterday, but I will upload today. It is daily content on there, and often multiple videos per day. So go click check out Football Yannick on YouTube, or click the link in the top of the description if you're not on a TV or mobile device. Just search Football Yannick. Go show your sweet love and support there if you want to, because you might like it. All right, where to start? Well, let's start off a little bit with Dean Huijsen. Of course, he's a really highly coveted centre back. The money's not a problem, and the wages shouldn't be a problem either, considering he's gone from Roma to Bournemouth. Wherever he goes, he's getting a pay rise, and that includes wage structure Chelsea. Yeah, man, he is a baller. Of course, the full Spanish international, despite being a teenager, of Dutch descent as well. Very, very good footballer, very, very versatile, aggressive, one man of the match last time out. Again, he's got a £50 million buyout clause, and all clubs look at that, and they think there's great value there. I think Bournemouth are more than doubling their money on him with that clause, and whoever receives him will be very happy in terms of the player they are getting. Everyone will trigger the clause, and it's just about him choosing the club. Now, what's really interesting, the favourites, the bookmakers' favourites, for what, obviously that's people, saying who they think will go. The favourite is Chelsea. So, just for reference, for those of you who actually take any stock in this, Chelsea are 7-2 favourites. Real Madrid are 7-4, close second favourites. But Chelsea more likely, and then Liverpool, and then there's a big drop off to Newcastle, and then Arsenal, and then staying at Bournemouth, and then Bayern Munich, Man City. But yeah, it's really the three clubs are Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Chelsea, and by all accounts, people are saying it's most likely to be Chelsea. Many Chelsea fans, and rightly, will have opinions on Chelsea centre-backs. My position is the same as last summer. I think the future of Chelsea centre-back in an ideal world should be Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana. Wesley Fofana's injury troubles have put that at risk. We all know the story. I really like Trevoh Chalobah. I think he's a proper Chelsea. He's a good player. And I think he's doing what he always does, seeing us through tough times at the end of the season, becoming a starter. I think the story remains, don't shoot the messenger. He will be sold. He will be sold because of a profiling situation. They think Chelsea's style of football can be optimised with a different style defender, even if he's defending incredibly well. That's not me saying that. I mean, I kind of sort of see their perspective, but I love Trev and I'd be happy for him to stay, but he's probably going to be sold. And they're probably happy he's playing well because they're going to book a lot of pure profit. Let's move on. Guys, many of you might have seen this. Wow. Ever since he scored that debut goal, João Félix for Milan, it's been really sad. It's been really, really sad, and it's been a nightmare for him. He should have just stayed at Chelsea. I think he wanted the loan, and Chelsea were like, yeah, fine. But he should have stayed just to play in the Conference League. I know that sounds wild for João Félix, a really high-profile player. Calcio Mercato, Italian publication, football sports publication, wrote this, giving him a rating. Flop João Félix, 4.5. Strap yourselves in. The Portuguese player is at a slow trot in the first half, disappearing into the white shirts of Bologna during the second half. However, he has the balls at his feet to allow Milan to score. In the first instance, he doesn't serve his teammates. In the second, he shoots very high from an excellent position. Also, at the end, he misses another easy pass, which he would have sent Jimenez to goal. His adventure at the Diavolo is destined to end. No one will miss him. In 18 appearances, he's got 1 goal, and that was the goal on his debut when he chipped the goalkeeper. We've come a long way from there. Remember, after he scored that goal, and everyone at Milan was like, oh my God, we've got João Félix in our team. Look at that lovely little dink goal he's just scored in his debut. There was articles, there was headlines the next day. Can we make him permanent? What's the options for permanent, making him permanent? Is it possible to make him permanent? Of course, we know he loves Kaká. He looks a lot like Kaká as well. I don't know if that's been highlighted by anyone, but there's a picture of him with Kaká as well, not from this loan spell, but somewhere. I can't remember where it was. And it seemed like destined it could happen, like the Milan's link there, but he's coming back to Chelsea, and I mean, it feels like Benfica or Saudi. Another player is Nkunku, who apparently has got a mystery injury, but I think he's just being wrapped up to go on for sale. I reckon clubs, potential suitors, most notably Bayern Munich, are probably in contact with Chelsea. I'm guessing, guys, this is a theory here, are in contact with Chelsea about the acquisition of Nkunku, and they're probably saying, look, we don't need to look at him play more. We know exactly what he can do. We've seen him in the Bundesliga. We've seen him in the Conference League. We've seen him play for France. Just don't play him. Don't get him injured, and we'll talk in the summer. I genuinely think that's what's going on. And it's not like Chelsea are missing out on a really important offensive asset to help us achieve top 5. Yeah? Because he makes the team worse at the moment, not because he's a bad player, purely because he doesn't fit and he doesn't want to be there. Very interesting to see what happens to Nkunku. I would theorize he could do a Timo Werner and return to Leipzig, or probably the thing is, like, he could not PSG maybe. I mean, unless he plays like a false 9 for PSG like Ousmane Dembele. But would he return to PSG, of course, where he started before Leipzig? I think Bayern Munich makes the most sense, and I think he, as a player, would probably see that as a good move, because he's not going back to a Leipzig or a PSG where he was before. He's moving forwards. He's been really successful in the Bundesliga, and Bayern Munich are king of the castles. You know what I mean? So all parties, I think that would suit. Yeah. All right. So, we are going to do a little stroll down the athletic way. Are Chelsea better when they have less possession by Liam Twomey? So, this is just for reference is what I'm looking at here. And we're going to learn a little bit together. It's not too much of a long read, and I'm going to show you some numbers. Chelsea recorded their lowest share of possession in any Premier League match this season against Liverpool last weekend, and produced one of their best performances out of it, despite having the ball for just 35.3% of the time. against the newly crowned Premier League champions. Chelsea scored 3 times. They also generated their 4th best expected goals value, 3.1, decent, of the league season. Number boosted by Caicedo winning, of course, the penalty at the end. Maresca's team were far more aggressive when they did get the ball, generating 5 breaks, counter-attacks, defined by Opta as fast counter-attack starting from the team's own half, with the opposition defence at least partly unsorted. Wow, what a definition. And then 6 direct counter-attacks, and that is classified as a number of open play sequences that begin inside the team's own half and at least 50% movement towards the opposition goal. Right, just 2 different types of breaks, counter-attacks, and we were better with those, yeah? Both equaled Chelsea's season highs in the Premier League in those respective categories. The performance invoked memories of a faster, more dynamic young team that rose as high as 2nd in the table before the turn of the year, even while performing in a manner that Maresca regularly warned was putting his players at risk of becoming embroiled in a, quote, basketball game. Maresca doesn't want a basketball game. Ergo, he doesn't want to play like we did last season under Pochettino, where we are often very, very vulnerable. I've been very firm. I don't want that either. I don't think that's good for sustainable success. My opinion, but there we go. Speed and style of play have been points of contention at Stamford Bridge all season. Chelsea's frequency of direct attacks has plummeted since the turn of the year, and many supporters subscribe to the theory that the more young team has committed to the more possessions-focused principles, so-called MarescaBall, and the more they've done that, the worse we've become. Like I said earlier at the top of the video, that's the conspiracy. The manner of the victory against Liverpool raised an adjacent question. Are Chelsea better when we have less of the ball? Ooh. Ça, c'est une question très importante. The answer, as you might imagine, is not entirely straightforward. Chelsea have enjoyed the majority of possession in 27 of their 35 Premier League matches this season. No great surprise for a team who's aspire to control and create with the ball. Maresca's team have a winning record of those matches with 15 wins. So this is with lots of the ball. 15 wins, 8 draws, 4 losses. And a losing record in 8 where they have had less than 15%, 50% of the ball. So when we've had the majority of the ball, we've got 15 wins, 8 draws, and 4 losses. And when we've got less of the ball, we got 3 wins, 1 draw, and 4 losses. So, off the bat, much better with the ball. That in itself, though, does not tell us that much. More interesting is the picture that emerges when we divide those 35 matches into degrees of possession. Oh, it's getting all nerdy now. A couple of important notes. Firstly, possession as a statistic provides a broad indicator of the general flow of the match, rather than a detailed picture of a shifting state of the scoreline over 90 minutes. Look, we know possession doesn't mean anything, really. The likes of Guardiola, this is me talking, of course. The likes of Guardiola and Demman, they want the ball because when they've got the ball, you can't. I mean, look, we can't argue with Guardiola. He's built the best teams. He's built the most dominant teams. Guardiola will never play a reactive, counter-attacking, game or game plan. There's absolutely a place for it. I think Postecoglou of Tottenham did the right thing, and Bodo Glimt doing that, and lately against Frankfurt. But that's because they're in all kinds of trouble. For me, the long-term plan is if you want to challenge for the major honours, your base style of football, your foundational philosophical belief should be control and possession. That's just how it should be, right? That being said, in the 12 league matches where Chelsea have enjoyed between 50 and essentially 60% possession, they have performed pretty well. 7 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. They have average of 1.7 goals scored per game in those dozen outings, exactly in line of the average XG, 1.7. Wow. No Nico Jackson lowering that that ranking, underperforming XG. And they've only conceded, 0.8 goals per game. 0.8 goals per game, guys. That, my friends, is Chelsea. And this is why last season gave me a heart attack and high blood pressure, just opening up for goals all the time on transition. And just Moyes just kind of saying, going, by himself in midfield. That didn't work. I know we found a bit of form with the 5 wins at the end of the season, but go back, watch the games. It was not convincing. It was great, it was successful. But long-term success, I feel like conducive. You need some control, especially as Chelsea. You just need to control games. The record improved slightly with the 12 fixtures that they have 60 to 70% possession, 8 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss. Despite Chelsea's average XG of those games, in those games rising to 1.4, opponents marginally underperform that 1.3. Oh, XG against. So we've got a much better record with high possession, but for some reason we've let them in more in terms of XG against, but probably because this is again me theorizing here, young team, we've had the ball for ages, yada yada yada. Oh my god, they've broken and they've had a really great chance. That's probably what's happening, or indeed Rob Sanchez presenting the goal to them. I just want to look at this. So this is a graphic that I want to show you guys as well. I'm not going to read you the whole article because there's a lot. So this is an outlier. Ipswich, we lost 2-0 and we had loads of possession. That was the most possession we've had in the league. We lost. Everton lost, but we did get David Moyes there. Ipswich, we drew. So this in microcosm, Brighton are a good team. That is horrible. This is the top, guys. This is the problem. This is what will create the narrative, yeah? Loads of possession, dropped 4 points to Ipswich, who were relegated. And this is what started it. Do you remember? At the end of December, this is what started that 0-0 against Everton. Because up until then, we were like title contenders, Really, really. So it's almost like right at the top. But then, again, 67 or 68% possession, that's loads. Win, draw against Forest, which is not the worst. A dominant win against Aston Villa with loads of possession. Win against Leicester, as you expect. Wolves win. Brentford. Spurs win. That doesn't tell the whole story. Oh, you can't see it. That doesn't tell the whole story from the game, because just move that up so you don't get lost. Because that was a late goal they got back. We've comfortably beat them. Wolverhampton Wanderers controlling the game loads. Win. Southampton, whatever, 4-0, sort of fine. This is all dominant possession here. Against Southampton again. But generally, the ball is better. What the players do with the ball and how quickly they do it will continue to consume the Chelsea fans, who remain deeply ambivalent about this style of football. Maresca acknowledged as much last month, while pointing out the opponent's strategy will always impact the watchability of the end product. He said this, quote, "The only thing I can say is I think the last 6 Premier League games at home, we faced Southampton, Leicester, Wolves, West Ham, Spurs and Ipswich. We won 5 or 6. Probably the one that people enjoyed most was the Chelsea win against Spurs, 1-0. But Spurs were the only team in the last 6 that were trying to press higher. So this reason is probably why we attack more and attack quick. But against the rest, so he's saying low blocks. And Ipswich would have played low block against us as well. And certainly, you go back to that graphic, Ipswich, Everton, Ipswich, low blocks. They're the 3 games that create the narrative of, Chelsea have got high possession and they're wasting against teams. And that's why it's just people that sit with low blocks. And it's very, very hard to change a whole philosophy to be like, we're going to invite Ipswich Town on us so we can do these fast counter-attacking breaks. Tottenham basically put us in a position. I do feel like we had the exact same thing with Sarri ball in 2018, guys. It's the exact same thing. Remember, we faced low blocks, we passed the ball around, Chelsea fans start singing F Sarri ball. So, I think even Man City fans have been bored at times, and it's really hard to get it completely right and crack it like Guardiola. But when you do, it is the right thing to do. And if you are trying to get really good at one way of football and make it like instinctive, I kind of get it. And there's going to be some like bruises on the way. Here's the disclaimer, Claxon. We've got the youngest team in the Premier League that, need to break out of their shell sometimes. No, it's a really interesting talking point. Go seek out the article. Again, I'm pretty happy with Maresca, personally. I'm not entirely happy with him. I do like how he talks sometimes, and then sometimes I think he does himself no favours, but in the press, certainly. But by all accounts, the players really like him, the club really likes him, and, should we meet our targets this season, Champions League, and win the Conference League, and make some good signings, I'll be looking forward to next season. And to be honest, with Xabi Alonso going to Real Madrid, I'm not seeing a glaring obvious replacement upgrade. Do you know what I mean? Carlo's going to go and retire in Brazil with a cigar in his mouth. Do you know what I mean? You could say Andoni Iraola if you want, but it's not a clear-cut obvious banker for me. So we'll see what happens. Long video today. Hopefully you didn't find it too rambly, but yeah, let me know what you think. Comment down below. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Remember, if you do want Football Therapy merch, Goat Gang merch, it's all should be under the video as well. If you want it, go check it out. And yeah, see you on Football Yannick, the other channel, if you want more content. All right, peace.